Hello, everybody. We're going to talk about eliminating things from our pictures. The first one we're going to talk about is a spot healing brush. As you can see, it looks like a band-aid with like a little handle on it. So we're going to click there. It turns out as a brush. What we want to make sure is we're in mode is normal and we're in content aware. Because if we're in content aware, I'm going to brush over something and the computer is actually going to um, take information from around it, the content of where is it, and it will make what it seems to be the best thing to eliminate that object. So we're going to start right here in this bison right here. We're going to paint it, and of course we're going to go over the edges a little bit, something that simple. And notice it picked up all the information around it. Now, mind you, over here and here they're identical, but it just took it and kind of cloned it in there. So that's a good thing. Let's go over here and look at this bison here to the left. It's just the kind of a half of a bison. Notice I'm going to paint into the actual um, bushes here or the high grass. And let's see what happens there. Notice it understood that and actually continued the grass through it. It is really good for small things, okay? Like what we're doing here, these baby bison and stuff like this. I would not say it's something very large because I'll do the bison right here to show you. The bigger the object is, the harder it is, and there's more content around it it will look for, okay? So what'll happen is, and as you can see what I'm doing here, it's going to pick up a little bit of the tree because it's so close to the tree. And notice it picked up the tree right here and there. We actually picked up this section right there and put it in there. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I can probably go over this again and do it, but it's still a little wonky. It's got a few flaws, but it's a good start, okay? Bring that bison back. The next one is, we call it the healing brush tool. Kind of the same thing. It's going to pick up information, but it's going to pick up information from where I tell it to. Rather than the bushes and everything, it's going to pick it up from another area. So let's look at the small bison right here. I'm going to go ahead and you're going to notice my brushes right here. I'm going to hit the Alt button and you'll see that it turned into a small target or a smaller like scope. I'm telling the computer as holding my Alt button down, this is where we're going to pick up our information from. So I click here, left click, come over and notice the bison's getting covered. I slowly paint over the bison and it does a content aware thing. It kind of fills things out. A little wonky up here again, but it's still doing its job. It gets you started, but it's not perfect. Don't settle for this at all, okay? So that's your second one. My third one underneath this is going to be the patch tool. Patch tool is a little different. Patch tool is where I actually draw a nice little selection around it. We've already talked about selection tools. And of course, you can see it. Once that's done, you're going to see when I'm over the selection, there is the patch and it has an arrow with it. That arrow means I need to move it. So what happens is I click and hold and I move it and notice I'm moving it to a different area. Like I kind of like this right here because you can see there's a bump on the bottom right-hand corner that I'm going to kind of match up with the one down there and the one in the middle. And I release it. And notice it does its job. Pretty close, pretty nice. It's something that's small, so that's one of the things, okay? Now let's try on something bigger. And again, these are the things that are going to get you close, but it's not going to be perfect, okay? So come around here, bring it around. And of course, the bigger the object, the harder it is where I can find a space, okay? Also, when you're doing this and I move this, and this is with any place you're picking up information, you're telling the computer to pick up the information, make sure you're parallel with it. I don't want to go down here where the grass is much bigger, much clumpier. I want to keep it over here on the same parallel, okay? So notice if I bring this down here, it's big and those boulders are much bigger and it's going to look really bad. So, but if I come over here, I find something that's similar to it. And notice I'm picking up the brown, kind of keeping the brown on the bottom of the feet, and I relax. So if I go and notice when I let go, it almost picks it up perfectly and did a really, really nice job. So that's the patch tool. We are going to try one more thing. And what's going to happen is I'm going to stop this video and we're going to talk about the clone tool. So those are the first three we're going to take care of.